Before the movie started, Christian was just saying, he was kind of observing that these difficulties that he and Cecilia have had, recently or whatever, it seemed kind of, he said, we have nothing really to fight about. We really don't. Practically speaking, we don't have anything. We have, we've got a roof over our head, we have everything that we need. Everything that we need has been provided. So we have absolutely nothing to fight about, and yet, bizarrely, there seems to be a disagreement sometimes. And this movie starts to give a basis and say, well, as long as you're believing something that isn't true, then you might have something to fight about, but it need not be. You can simply just let go back into the quantum field. And true spirituality is really nothing more than letting go into forgiveness, is what the quantum field is about.
Can I bring something else into this?
Yes.
We think now we come from one G. Everything that's alive comes from one G. We think that's probably the way it is. And we've actually found some of these in space. We've even found single helix in space, I believe. So everything we're here, everything that's alive, is, as you say, interconnected on a very different level, on an animal level, if you like. Because when you live outside the construct of the matrix, if you like, you sense things. There are senses which have no reality to anything. You sense them. I sense things at sea 12 hours before they happen. I have no way of knowing why. Nothing changes, but I know it's going to change. That's an animal sense or a genetic sense. No idea. But it means that we are linked, and most of us have forgotten that because we don't live in an environment where we are receptive to those things. How does that come in with quantum theory?
Yeah, you could say that every time you're able to intuit things even before they happen, or you're just aware of things, even though your five senses haven't yet shown you that's a step in the direction of the abstraction, in the sense that everything is thought. Like you were sharing, it seems kind of funny, but when you go away and then you come back, the vegetation is a little droopy, and then it's like it lights up, like it's happy to see you. Well, from this perspective of this movie, that's entirely predictable.
That's an animal sense, isn't it? Or from basic things we need. Genes. Genetic.
Yeah, or if we bring it back to thoughts, we could say that if thoughts can influence the structure and configuration of water molecules, that what we call genetics in the body are influenced by thoughts. And we could say that everything in the world, we were talking about the natural environment versus the built, the urban construct versus the natural thing. We could say from quantum field that the things we were talking about today, the rhythms of nature, how to naturally irrigate and heat and cool in a harmonious way with nature, and so on and so forth, but those are like symbols or reflections of coming back to the harmony of all things. That you're able to observe that there's interconnectedness with everything, all the different systems of the ecosystem, everything in the environment. The more you open to it, you can feel it. You can feel that it's all interconnected, and then what seems to be the built environment seems to be, like you were saying, building things without even feeling the space. That seems to be just symbols of disconnect. That's why when you go to big cities, a lot of times, people walk around and they don't even look each other in the eye. It's not like Australia. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. You go through the good day, mate. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. You go walk down the road. You got the good day, mate everywhere. You go into a big urban environment, and people are like walking as if there's nobody there. There's no eye contact and whatever. I always liked that time when I heard Mother Teresa, dealt with poverty in Calcutta and different parts of the world. when she visited New York City one time, she actually said that there was a deeper poverty in that urban environment than anywhere that she'd ever encountered around the world. And she called it like an alienation poverty. It was a psychological poverty of being all caught up in complexity and meaningless mind chatter of things that really have no reality whatsoever. But it was so layered on so thick that she said that at least in Calcutta she could take somebody off the streets, nurse them back to health, feed them and hug them and love them, and that they would be out on the street, the next day. And she couldn't do that in New York City. She encountered a psychological poverty that was almost like layer of complexities, and that she couldn't just take them in, feed them and send them out the next day. They came in depressed, and they seemed depressed, but in the end what we have to say is that all of that, the environment that seems to be the natural environment of Earth, and the urban environments and the overlays are all part of the Matrix. If we watch the movie The Matrix, Morpheus says the Matrix is everywhere. When you help your landlady carry out her garbage, when you go to church, he starts to just describe a lot of different random events and describes all of that as the Matrix. And in the end, when you go deeper into your mind and into the quantum field, you do see that what goes for the natural environment is still artificial, just as artificial as the so-called built environment, that it's all artificial. Keith, did you have something?
Yeah, just noticing thoughts around, if Mother Teresa said what she said, I've heard you say that before, then what is her perception? If she's perceiving that will be coming through her awareness, and then I'm having these thoughts, you're talking about, all these people in New York City that she perceived. What does a unified field care about all those people?
Yeah, it's just a device to say that actually poverty is psychological and it's not material. Basically this movie is saying that everything is consciousness and it's not material at all, that atoms aren't really material, and even electrons aren't really things. They did experiments with electrons saying that these are the smallest particles of matter that we've got. So these are things, they are separate little things, and they tried to do experiments and these things wouldn't even behave like things anymore. When they observed them, they behaved like waves. They took on a different characteristic just by the idea that they were observed. So yeah, the only point I was making wasn't about the people or New York City and built environments being more illusory than anything else, but just getting to that point to see that everything, the poverty is just a misperception in mind. That's what poverty is. It has nothing to do with anything that seems to be material.